In this video, we will see how we can use the VRAY frame buffer for post-production in VRAY for SketchUp. So we saw how to render in many ways. We saw interior and exterior renderings. We saw how we can apply effects directly from the VRAY asset editor. And in this video, we're going to study how to work with the VRAY frame buffer. So basically, the VRAY frame buffer is divided in three parts. We have the left panel here, the right panel, and then the middle panel. And this is the one that it's more classic and standard in VRAY. But in the latest version here, we have some changes happening in the right side and in the left side here. We have the history and we have the layers. And we have also another excellent tool, which is called the Lightmix. Now we need to set up everything here, so we're gonna see that from the beginning in just a minute, but I just want to show you how powerful is this new VRAY frame buffer with the channel system. So it's looking like Photoshop. You can basically go in here and change the temperature, you can change different effects, use saturation, everything with just one click. You don't need to re-render every time, you just go here and apply the effect. And also Lightmix, it's a similar tool. You can find it here at the bottom usually, and sometimes you have RGB here, but you just need to change to switch to Lightmix. And so what you can do here with Lightmix is basically affect every light on the scene, including emissive materials or mesh lights and environment, sunlight. You can affect everything and you can manage everything from here. So for example, here I can turn everything off and just leave the sunlight on, and it's gonna give me directly another type of rendering. And then I can perhaps use the environment, or let's see here, the rest of the lighting. And so I can work only with these two. And I can continue to switch on and off lights, change the intensity directly from here, and change the color. So everything is happening in real time, and I can affect all the rest of the rendering without going back and re-rendering over and over again. And you can see also some lens effect applied here, but we're gonna go through all of this in the video. So let's start from the beginning. So I'm going back to another scenario here, and this is a bust. You can get it from Polyhaven. We already used this in a previous video, and also the model here is from the SketchUp video course. So the first thing here, I want to change the view, and I'm selecting this one because I can see more clearly all the room. And then let's launch the VRAY frame buffer. Now once you activate the history, you can see it's already activated. You will also always find this inside the history. So you can also clear out everything here because we are starting all over, or you can keep it and check it perhaps in the future. So you can see here I already made a rendering in the previous video, and then I switched from into this other one. Now the first thing we need to fix is the depth of field, because right now it's turned on and it's not good because it's not focusing on the right part of the scene. So just as we did in another video, we can go to the VRAY asset editor, go to the camera, depth of field, and change the focus distance maybe in this part of the scene. So let's click on that object there, and let's launch another rendering. Okay, so now it should be in focus, and it is. Now we can decide if you want to use the bucket rendering mode, the progressive rendering mode, or the interactive, doesn't matter. But in this case, I just want to keep everything real low. I want to use low settings to make quick renderings, and then only in the final part, when I'm really sure of all the lights that I've placed, all the objects and everything, I will run a final render. So while you're working here in post-production, it's not appropriate to use really high settings because you want to be quick, you want to generate quick renderings, and you want to check them in the history here and modify them and find all the color correction that you need to do. So what I would do here is you work with the progressive, lower down the values at the worst, and also use a time limit. So I want to use, let's say, half a minute or something close to create just one render. I don't want to wait too much, so I'm gonna decrease this value with the progressive mode on, or I can use the backward rendering and again lower the quality. So we don't need high quality settings, which we already saw in previous videos. All right, so also another thing I would like to keep on here is the denoiser, because it's gonna clean a little bit the scene from the noise that's gonna be generated because we are working in low quality. Now, when a rendering is finished, you can save it in the history. But first of all, we need to activate the history if you didn't do it already. To do that, we need to go here to the options, VRAY frame buffer settings, and we have other panels here. You can check all these other panels because they are interesting, especially here the shortcut keys if you want to work faster. But this is the one that we are looking for, history. So you need to turn on this one here. This is the first step. And then you need to define a folder where to save these files, because these are actually images that then you can get from a particular folder. Now you can use the folder of your project, so the same project path, and you can also define a dedicated space that you want to give on your disk. Otherwise, this could be like overwhelming and you can fill up your disk with renderings without even notice. So you can set a limit, you can use your project path, or you can use a precise folder. In this case, you can see here I have created one called history, and this is where I'm storing all the information and images. And then when you do this, you will have these buttons on and you can start to work with the history panel right here. Now you can also save, and I found this really handy, or you can save manually by clicking on this plus icon right here. But I definitely would leave autosave on, and I don't find this useful because sometimes I stop the render without that is finished, but I can use it, so I will deactivate the autosave completed only. And also you have the position here for the thumbnail height and width proportions and so on. These are like secondary things that you can figure out yourself. Now when you're finished to set up the primary things, which are this one here on the top, you can save and close. And now you can start to work with the history. So for example, here it automatically saved this render. It's gonna also give me the time. This is 56 seconds. And this is because I have set that time limit. So it's taking really